hindsight, not having lights on and having split up with your father when you were 1.5.
Yeah.
I mean,
and I had a brotber who was 10 at the time, and he was
can't talk about your
14.
brother.
Right.
It's legally we can't. It's a whole thing because of his thing.
Right.
Tom Segura had a similar situation, and we had to dance around that for a while. Your mother, which parent would you say came out of the divorce like, was your dad like Larry from Three's Company? Like, hey, son, I got 2 flight attendants upstairs in the hot tub at the Boca condo. And your mom's like sitting shiver with the lights off going, are you watching Sanford and Son, honey? Which one? Who was what? Or did I just nail it?
You nailed it. But my father went from my mother, and then within a year he was married to somebody else.
Did he know this person when he was with your mother?
Yes.
That's what really makes your mother crazy to this day.
My father was Willie Loman-esque, I think.
I would like to befriend your mother.
Lomanian? I don't know.
Both.
What's the expression? Yeah.
Yeah. It's important.
A lot of Arthur Miller references this podcast.
It's important to make friends.
Yeah.
Hap.
And to be well liked.
And your mother, that's what I was trying to say. And your mother kept calling you Hap.
Oh, yeah.
So your mother, has she remarried?
Never. She never dated again, Jay.
Because then she would have, here's my theory, but it's a fact on divorced women.
And there's a protection thing in me to protect this woman and make her happy. And so that's what I'm trying to do probably is repeat that. Try to find a woman and make her happy and just give and give.
But don't you think when there's a divorce, the guys move on quicker because they get the young version. It's like when you fucking trade in the lease on your car. Oh, this is the new one.
My mother raised 3 boys by herself without a VCR. Do you know how difficult that was? You couldn't just put them in front of. You can't even imagine that.
Right. I can't. Especially as a comic.
And on a pittance of child support and alimony or whatever.
And your father's like, me and Michelle are going on a cruise. We'll see you in the Maldives. And your mother's like, let me darn Gary's socks.
Yeah, and I will say my mother was a saint because she never, you know how some of the divorced mothers
Barbarino now?
are just
my mother's a saint.
Saint Bernard.
Oh my God, Mr. Carter, we thought she was gonna die, I swear. I never did that before. My mother's a saint.
It's so weird.
Oh my God, it's so weird. Look how I got all these different hairstyles in my movies.
How was it that show?
No. Go back. When you get divorced.
Yeah.
First of all, anyone listening that knows people are getting a divorce, whether it's fair or not, you have to pick a side. You have to choose who you're living with. You cannot go, well, I'm friends with Gary and I'm friends with Carla. I'm going to go to Carla's for the football. Then you are no longer ever speaking to Gary because Gary's going to go, what the fuck is he doing? And even Facebook friends, you got to erase that shit, right?
I don't want to see you in a picture with my ex-girlfriend and we're still friends on Facebook.
Alonzo Bowden friended my son's mother on like MySpace and he was in like her top 15 and Alonzo's as great. And I remember I had like a week of going, the fuck's Alonzo Bowden doing? Even though it's her that did the thing, like put him up.
Yeah, he didn't think.
No, it wasn't. Shut up. We're not bad-mouthing Alonzo Bowden. God damn, he is brilliant. But you have to choose a side in divorce. And those of you that think I could still be friends with both, it's a fool's errand because what you're doing is you're ensuring that you're going to be 5% friends with each.
Yeah.
So everybody chose to be friends with your dad.
No.
But he didn't care because he had the hot young shiksa.
Yeah, I mean,
you want to take this out?
Essentially.
Are we all right?
Yeah, I'm fine with this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm fine with this.
Also with a divorce, guys move on quicker because it's not that we don't give a fuck. Listen, ladies, it's not that we don't give a fuck. We don't want to give a fuck. So our not wanting to give a fuck supersedes anything we actually care about.
But also back then, it was such a stigma for a woman. My mother was, what are you, going out? You're going out? The idea of a mother of 3, a single mother of 3 going out or having a date.
She was Ernest Borgnine and Marty.
It was ridiculous. The best thing you could,
Blue suit, green suit. I'm a fat, ugly man, Ma. What's the difference?
I'm not going to lose on Marty. And now we're going into quiz show.
1955.
Anything but
Everyone
Marty.
knows. Best picture.
And you're going to answer on the waterfront. No, anything but
Best
Marty.
Best picture in 1955 was Marty. Not Marty.
Yeah, so
So
the
there was a
mother wasn't
stigma
gonna
attached
go-
to a
yeah, there
single
was
mom in
stigma
the
attached
70s.
to the single mom in the 70s, and the best she could hope for was that thing that was so beautiful in Jerry Maguire, another movie, was the divorced women's group.
Yeah.
That was my mother would go every Tuesday night for a meeting with the divorced women at Debbie Wolf's house, and that was her entire social life.
That exactly consolidates my point, and that is that the women, the divorcedness of being a divorced woman, is the identity that they don't want to give up, because then they have to go figure out who they are. If that's not true, how many divorced women do you know that still have that cocksucker's last name that they hate? Why the fuck would you keep a guy's last name if he broke your heart, he cheated on you, and he left, and you still have that goddamn hyphen? Fucking cut that shit loose and be you.
But back then,
hey girl, be you, girl.
Back then, this is the 1970s.
But I'm bringing it up to now.
My mother isn't a woman of the 90s. This was her entire identity. Being
She
a
is
mother.
now. In 2012, she's a woman of the 90s.
Barely.
The right stuff. Oh. But think about it. I went through this, and I won't ever talk about that part of my life out of respect to my son's mom, because everything's fine.
Right.
But divorced women that keep that guy's last name, that's a fucking mental problem you have.
It's called Stockholm syndrome. They start to identify with their captors.
It's not. I appreciate the reference, and I appreciate the half joking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
I see where you're digging, but I gotta go. No. Don't dig there. Dig over here. It's if I just become. What's your mother's maiden name?
Wasserman.
What's her first? Can I say her name?
Yeah, Barbara.
If I'm just Barbara Wasserman, now all of a sudden I'm not the lady at the divorced group where, and the husband. There's nothing to talk about if you move on from divorce, if you're a woman. If you're a guy, you would never say to a guy that got divorced, all right, man, I'm really sorry. You say that at first, and the guy always goes, don't be. It's fucking, oof. Like, that shit's over. Now I'm ready to live. And they always say in life there are no dress rehearsals. Divorced men got a dress rehearsal.
Right.
Spit it. What are you, a silent partner? Spit it out.
All right, he was out of control, but right now he seems like he's okay.
Would you say...
I just watched Gary Gulman have an impression fly through his mind. He went to use his hand to do the impression and realized, I really want to fucking finish this point. This is fascinating stuff.
If they hadn't done what I told them not to do, we were doing Reservoir Dogs.
I'm waiting for you to finish it.
I don't want to. I want to talk about
Finish it real quick. If they hadn't done what I told them not to do, you're going to make me do it?
they'd still be alive.
My fucking hero. He turned it into a goddamn shooting gallery. Bam!
Boom.
Bam!
Bam!
Bam! What the fuck was Joe thinking?
All right, I understand. He's out of control. He seems okay now. I mean, but the bottom line is there's a rat. Some of us are rat. I know it's not me, and I'm pretty sure it's not you.
Don't you fucking call me a rat! Buscemi told me a great story, and we're going to get back to Barbara Wasserman.
Of course.
That beauty. God bless her. Barbara Wasserman, I'll tell you this. You raised one hell of a young man that's sitting in front of me.
Oh.
Keitel and Madsen maybe not getting along the best, because I'm currently, doing the thing with Buscemi. And Buscemi goes, the cops come by. Because when they were pulling the cop out of the back of the cop car on Reservoir Dogs, the neighbors in the industrial, wherever the fuck they shot it, were like, yo, this is weird, because it was shot from far away.
Yeah.
So they called the cops because somebody's kidnapped and fucking screaming, and these guys in suits. It's totally weird. So they call the cops, and as the cops are coming, Michael Madsen says to Harvey Keitel, he goes, I bet you were real pissed off when Scorsese hired Joe Pesci to play Joey LaMotta instead of you. And Keitel goes, Joey? And he points to himself with his thumb. He goes, LaMotta. Like he thought like he
Yes.
should have. It kind of worked out for De Niro. Like to be Jake LaMotta in Raging Bull, like one of the greatest cinematic things.
But don't you feel that he was insulted that you would think that I was up for the role of Joey? I should have been LaMotta.
That's the point.
Yeah.
Like he went crazy on like, what?
Yeah.
Joey. Meanwhile, like they're just waiting for Joey. LaMotta. Like you fucking dope. And then the cop
You shoot
comes.
me in a dream, you better wake up and apologize.
And then the cops show up, and Buscemi told me this with his own mouth, and he goes, the cop they're, talking to production, whatever, and the cop looks up and sees Keitel, who's standing next to Michael Madsen, and the cop looks at Keitel and goes, hey, don't you play a lot of assholes? And Keitel points to Madsen and goes, no, that's him. The speech of Buscemi going, it's tipping automatically, it's for the birds.
Yeah.
I don't tip. No, I'm sorry. I want
Waitressing is one of the only...
These women bust their ass. So, in the middle of rehearsal one day, Keitel suddenly has that speech. They're rehearsing the diner scene, and Keitel's going, I don't tip. It's tipping automatically. It's for the birds. And Buscemi, doesn't want to make any waves. Sweetest guy in the world, and you would never know how funny he is. He's super funny in real life.
He was a stand-up, in a sketch group. And
Really?
Yeah, I read a New Yorker article about him. He was a strong stand-up in the New York comedy scene.
So he's like, he doesn't care. He's just happy to be in the movie. And then Keitel travels with his own acting coach, this lady. And that night in the hotel room, they're going over tomorrow's stuff. And Keitel goes, this tipping, I don't tip. I'm sorry, but I don't tip. And the acting coach goes, I have no fucking idea what you're doing. Because she has the old script.
Yeah.
And he goes, we switched out the scenes. I'm doing that now. And the acting coach had to tell Harvey, that's the craziest thing. You're the father figure. You're the only, you believe in Tim Roth the whole way. Let him be this wormy this tipping automatically. And then you can tell him as a dad, you have no idea what you're talking about. And he just goes, okay. And then the next day he was back and then the next day they shoot it and they just hand Buscemi the pages this is yours now again. And he goes, oh, okay.
Wow.
He's like,
but that to me is the most memorable.
I want that speech.
But isn't that interesting? I don't really care about any of the shootout scenes. All I care about is that interaction. When I watch that movie, I go right to the interaction between those two guys.
You haven't the slightest idea what you're talking about. These women bust their ass.
Waitressing is one of the only jobs that a non-college graduate can get and still earn a living.
I don't give a shit. You know what this is? It's the world's smallest violin. Playing for these girls that didn't play their cards right. I want my coffee. And
Learn to fucking type.
Yes. And what I always love about that scene is his example is so crazy. She only filled my coffee 5 times.
No. When I order coffee, I want my coffee cup filled 6 times. She only filled it 3 times.
She gave up. Can I top that off with 3? Oh, what a cunt.
Yeah, I know. What's good? Take you out back and suck your dick? I'd tip over 12% for that. Nice guy, Eddie.
Charlie Chan, give me my fucking book back. All right.
Toby.
We've lost fucking subscribers. Toby Woo. Fucking Charlie Chan. Give me back my book.
I don't care how mad you are at me, that's not half as mad as Daddy's gonna be at us. Let's move some cars. It looks like Sam's hot car lot up there.
He had to fucking die. There goes that impression. Chris Penn. Joe, I don't know what you think you know, but he's a good kid. He shot in the gut. It's my fault he shot in the gut.
Larry, the man you just shot did 5 years in a federal penitentiary. He could have said my daddy's name and walked, but he didn't. Now you're going to tell me that guy's going to decide out of the fucking blue to rip us off? Why don't you tell me what really happened?
What the hell for? That lump of shit's working for the LAPD. Joe, you're wrong. Sorry. So Barbara Wasserman goes to her divorced woman group. Yes. You're painting a very sad picture of your mom. and I want to cheer her
No,
up.
she's an incredibly charming, outgoing, friendly woman. You talk to any of my friends who have met her. She's incredibly charismatic and funny and interesting. She just never dated again after my father left. They were married for 17 years. And the point I'm trying to make
was
is
it the birth of you that ended their relationship? Is it something about you being born? Because at 1.5, that's a... I see Gary's face for the first time going, oh my God, my birth caused my parents' divorce. No, sweetie.
No, I don't